Right. So on the last video, we went over the notes. So now we're going to take a look at what a question looks like for transformations. So here we see it says, what does a transformation of f of x look like if we change it to f of x minus 2? So we want to take a look at what has changed here. So it looks like what is changing here is this minus 2. And so we look back at our notes. Remember that there are two transformations for subtracting. We can subtract inside the parentheses and we can subtract outside the parentheses. And so if we look back at our notes, we should know that when we subtract outside of the parentheses, that's going to cause a vertical shift. And so this is going to cause the graph to shift down, right? So this is a vertical shift down. So we would select our answer as this. It is translated 2 units down because we are subtracting outside of the parentheses. Okay. Another question. It says, what transformation does f of x minus 5 do to the graph? So again, we start off with f of x. This time we are subtracting 5, but it is inside the parentheses. So when it's inside the parentheses, it's going to cause a horizontal shift, and we need to decide if it is left or right. And so we should recall from our notes that if the graph, if we subtract, it's going to cause a horizontal shift to the right. So the correct answer here will be translate 5 units to the right, because we are subtracting inside the parentheses, so that is right 5 units. Here, we want to know what transformation does f of x have if we change it to f of negative x. So we have a negative, but it is inside the parentheses. And so in the video, we talked about that if it's inside the parentheses, that means we are changing our x values. And so in order to change the x values, we must cross the y. So this is going to be a reflection across the y-axis. So anytime you see the negative sign inside the parentheses, it's going to reflect across the y-axis. Here, we have two transformations. So we are transforming inside the parentheses and outside of the parentheses. All right, so we know that if it's inside the parentheses, it's going to move left and right. So a plus inside the parentheses is going to cause the graph to move to the left, and adding outside is going to cause the graph to move up. So we need to go left 1, and then we're going to go up 8. So then we will be looking for the answer choice here. We go left 1 and then up 8. So this would be the answer choice that we are looking for. So that's one way we could do the translation. If you are given the equations, find the description. And the other way is that we can be given a graph like such, and then we have to write the function. So we start off with the block functions as our original functions, and then they've been translated into these other functions. And we want to write the equation. So in order for me to translate this black line into the red line, we will be able to write an equation. We want to go up 3 units. So that means that we would have f of x. And in order for us to go up 3, we need to add 3, but we're going to do that outside of the parentheses. So then this would be f of x plus 3. So we went up 3 units. If we wanted to go to the right, so we wanted to go right units. So this time we need a horizontal shift. So that means that in order to move the graph right, we're going to be inside the parentheses. And in order to go to the right, we are going to subtract, and we want to go 7 units. So this would be f of x minus 7. If we want to go to the left, again, this is a horizontal shift. So we're going to be working inside the parentheses. And to go to the left, we must add, and we want to go 5. So we would add 5 inside the parentheses. And then lastly, if we wanted to translate down, we're going to work outside of the parentheses. So we're going to have f of x, and then to go down 8, we would simply subtract 8 on both sides. So here we started with the graph, and we were able to work our way backwards to figure out the equation that created that graph.